back, it still gonna look like it good.
Oh, God. Thank you for blah 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 this morning. It's been that long, y'all. We forgot how to talk on the live.
God.
How y'all doing? Thank you for
joining.
Yeah, what you said.
Perfect. I am Kanisha Grinner, and this is my husband Corey Grinner, who is trying to get his tongue untwisted.
Tongue twist.
Thank y'all for joining us. Sorry it's been such a minute since we've been with you all, but we've had a little construction going on in our home, so we didn't want to, burden y'all with the noise, and didn't want to try to change locations and bother other people with our little setup and all that stuff. So thank y'all for being patient with us, and people still have been asking, like, when y'all doing your next podcast? So that has made us feel real good, to know that the conversation is interesting and people look forward to actually, hanging out with us or whatever,
And listening to us ramble and babble.
Yeah. But they join in, they message and join in and send in topics and things of that nature,
Right. And this week, there's a lot of stuff going on. I got something I wanted to talk about, but we didn't get a chance. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, so you maybe don't know enough to even have this conversation.
Let's find out, what is it?
Let me make sure they even hear us.
We got some mystery guests. Not familiar. Technical. Okay, so while he's figuring that part out.
Okay, y'all hear us? Can somebody get? I don't think we had the microphone. We didn't do our microphone check before we went live. So it looks like we're okay. We're gonna start it over then. I'm not sure y'all heard us.
Okay. Well, that works. And thank you again for joining Passing for Perfect. And I am Kanisha Grinner, and this is Corey Grinner. So y'all missed the blooper. That's good.
Hopefully y'all did miss the blooper.
Maybe y'all missed the blooper.
Maybe y'all did. Maybe y'all did.
But thank y'all for joining us, and thank y'all for being patient with us. As I was stating earlier, without the microphone being turned on, we've been getting, some comments and questions like, when y'all gonna do your next podcast? When's the next time you're getting on, and all that. So thank you all for actually enjoying our banter and joining in with us and messaging us and everything and sending in topics and things of that nature. We had a little home construction going on, so we've been out because of the noise and all that type of stuff, but we're back. And this week's topic, Corey says he had another topic that he wants to throw in here that he didn't tell me about.
But we're not going to talk about it because you ain't been following the Kwame Brown thing. I wanted to talk on it, but no, you ain't even got to make a face.
You can talk on it, and if I have a comment, I'll comment. If not, the people probably know what you're talking about.
We'll get to that. We'll say that for later.
Today, we were supposed to get with another couple and bring another couple in. So that's kind of the realm we're in. Unfortunately, with everything we have had going on lately, we weren't able to reach out to anyone to get them to join us. So you all are going to be our second couple. And if you're not a part of a couple, then, throw in your single bit of 2 cents that you would like to see, or maybe even a question you may have, because you want to be in a relationship or whatever. But in the news, we have Bill Gates and his wife getting a divorce. They've been married, I want to say it was 30 plus years. She's 55, he's 65. They have a net worth of $130 billion.
130 billion.
0, some more zeros. So they have a net worth of $130 billion. There is no prenup because they've been in this thing. They built the company and everything together. And they ain't gonna make it. They just decided to let it go after all these years. So In my mind, I'm thinking to myself,
In my mind,
it is reported that they had an open marriage, that she allowed him to go off with one of his ex-girlfriends once a year on his, I guess, I don't know what that would be, but if you have an open marriage and then you still get to go hang with an ex-girlfriend, I
it's
don't
a
know.
vacation.
Vacation, something.
Vacation.
A vacation.
It's vacation. We're not in the title, so we're not gonna even try to name.
I don't know. But 130 billion between the two of them, and they're getting a divorce. So it's like, if an open marriage can't keep you, then maybe we're having money problems. But they have $130 billion between the two of them. So it's not a money thing, So it's like, y'all just don't like each other. That's got to be what it is. Y'all just don't like each other. Maybe I don't like the sound of your chewing. It's just you aggravating me. You walk too loud. I don't know. You walk loud on carpet. Something's bothering me about you. I don't understand what that is. But for the two of them to decide after all this time to say, yeah, we're out, it kind of makes you question some things and where your values lie, or where their values lie, as far as marriage is concerned. Do people just not value marriage anymore? Is that what's happening here now? Even with them being in their age group, most people in that age bracket kind of have a little bit more, the sanctity of marriage means a little bit more to them. But they are like, whatever. I'm done with you. I'm tired. Let's move on. Now, reportedly, I'm going to say reportedly, years. 27 years.
27 years. Y'all, excuse us today. What would now be considered our research department?
That's the research department.
Yeah, our research department isn't with us today. So I have to research. This was her last day of school, and she's trying to get away from us as quickly as possible to get to her grandparents. So y'all just bear with us, because I'm going to be doing our own research, since we don't have our 13-year-old to do our research for us. But they've been married 27 years, $130 billion. And somebody was saying about them having to split the $130 billion.
Who cares? Like, there's nothing in their lifestyle that half of 130 is going to be a problem. Like,
so let's not get into the money thing, because she's been there. Yeah. They've built this together. They've been married 27 years. So she's been there with him through it all, through the mud. So
she worked with the company as well. So it's not like she was just along for the ride. Yeah, so she was a part of the brain.
She deserved what she get.
Right.
So my thing is, okay, you've been married 27 years. You've built a multi-billion-dollar company together. Children, grown, adult children. Properties. At this point, y'all had it become a business. And maybe they haven't liked each other in a long time. But because, for the sake of the business, the children, they stayed together. Like, I'm trying to understand if you're in an open marriage, you're free to go be with who you want to be with. This however many times a year or whatever. You have that type of money. You just don't like this person. Y'all just don't like each other at all. Y'all not compatible. Y'all don't fit. Y'all not friends. Or maybe it's not even that. It's just like y'all have outgrown each other to the point where we're not we're not happy with each other. And it may have been something that happened years ago.
Oh, well.
And they've just been the business of it all. They've just been going about the business of it all. And then one day, somebody woke up and was like, wait, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. This is not satisfying. Why am I still here? Like, I don't need the money. I don't need just the companionship. Or maybe one of them is falling in love with somebody else.
In an open marriage, I guess that is possible. Somebody broke the rules, it sounds like, because I think there's rules to that type of thing. But they have properties, and a part of the divorce decree, they are not allowed to sell off the properties. They do have children, but with the children, they're only going to leave behind $10 million per child. They're not giving the children the money. The money is going to be split among charities that they support. They're going to give the kids $10 million each. And I guess they got to get what they can get out of the parents while they're alive, because once they're gone, they're only going to leave them $10 million each. Then they're going to split the rest of the money across some charities. And I guess the children will have the properties. So they're not allowed to sell off any of the properties. That's a part of the divorce decree. So even with all of that, we've got properties, we've got other properties. Like, I believe personally, this is just me, I do believe that if you and I amass any type of serious wealth while we're together, and we have multiple properties, and we're in an open relationship, we're going to be married forever. That's just me. I'm just saying.
I don't understand the what has gone on. How much do I not like you to be with, like, man, just give me half of this money and I'm just going my way?
I mean, hey, maybe she feel like, look, I'm 55, I'm still young. I can get married again and fall in love for real. And money is not a problem. My living conditions is not a problem. I can live the type of lifestyle that I want to live, and I can actually be in love with somebody who, I really want to be with.
But do they really love you? If they
I mean, somebody with that kind of money,
when you got that
don't
kind
get with
of
somebody
money,
else
you
that
gotta
got
give
that
somebody
kind
that kind of money. Like, she can't go marry no 9-to-5 kid.
She can't.
And not be like thinking he there for the money.
Hold up. Now see how fast things turn whenever we having these open conversations, because what he just said, that's back in the day where, you misogynistic and all this other stuff. That's a misogynistic comment you just made. My feminism had to kick in for a minute. Because you just said, hold up, you just said she can't go marry nobody that's working a 9-to-5. But if he go get a woman that's just got a regular old 9-to-5, ain't nobody gonna bat an eye.
Nah, I feel the same way. Like, he can't go marry no 9-to-5 chick and you got 75 billion.
Whatever, man. They got men that do it all the time and nobody bats an eye. You see someone who has wealth and, real serious money, and they go get somebody that they meet somewhere and nobody says a word. He's a savior to her. He took her in and made her life better and all this. But as soon as if a woman gets a man in that same circumstance, then, we going to get railroaded. They going to dog us out. So.
That's some societal foolery. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that was a sidebar, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention, how you said that.
But I feel the same way about him marrying somebody 9-to-5. Like, is this really love? Or is it love of the money? Like are you in love with the lifestyle? Like, at that point, when you have that type of money, that's another thing. Like, why am I divorcing you when you already allowed me to be in an open relationship? We got all this money. We really have to not like each other for me to be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it might be the same thing going to jail.
There has to be something. There has to be something extremely disrespectful to the level of, I can't pay this person off to go away for you to be like, man, this over with, babe.
Maybe they've been over with a long time, like you said, and they had a goal they needed to hit, business-wise. They had a particular benchmark that they wanted to get to. And then they say, okay, once we hit this, we're going to skip. It's over. We can part our separate ways, because maybe it was like, all right, once we hit this amount of money, we can call it an even split and we both get to walk away with this much.
I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Because that's the only thing that makes any possible kind of sort of sense to me. Like maybe the 100 million mark was 100 billion, sorry, mark was the goal, because it's like, hey, that's a good even number. You get your 50, I get my 50, and we go on. Maybe
I can't. I have no real rational, answer. Like,
so. The other half of that is this: we got Bill Gates and his wife out of the way, because to leave it on people's mind, I just don't understand. I don't understand it. If anybody out there, if y'all understand it, drop a message or whatever. But I don't understand it. The question to me is this, though: why now? Why in the year 2021, post-pandemic, post all things foolery?
that's it. Pandemic. They might have had to spend a whole lot more time with each other than they normally have. Like, we've been able to realize and see that a lot of people have realized during this pandemic that
They don't really like each other.
They don't really like each other.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really have a friendship. They don't really have anything in common with the person they married to. Because a lot of times what happens is people get married and we're, at a certain maturity level, emotionally, spiritually, physically, sexually, all that.
Right.
We're in a certain place, and we grow.
Yeah. Apart sometimes.
And a lot of times children, work, career paths, certain things just grow us apart. And when people, especially people like that, when y'all really not spending time together, like, we see each other every day, no matter how much we work.
Right.
We see each other every day. Right. Like, we're around each other. We spend time together. It could be possibly like in that they could have possibly spent the last 20 years
working
and not spending any real time together. Where it's like passing ships. And then pandemic hits and some things slow down. Right. Y'all at home more often. You're doing things. I'm more than sure they were already doing things virtually. For them, they wasn't going into the office every day. But you're on this side of the world. I'm on this side of the country. I'm doing this. I'm making this business move. You're doing that. And we're not around each other. And just so happens we had to spend 2-3 months around each other.
Right.
Consecutively.
Right.
7 days a week. 24 hours a
Don't
day.
Drag it out. Don't make it sound like it was a chore.
Obviously, it may have been for them.
Maybe. True.
So that's where that could come from. Or it may have been, I don't know how old their kids are.
They're grown, whichever.
They grown, and
it definitely wasn't a going to stay for the kids type of thing. Like, so that brings us to this point. Like, we got Bill Gates and his wife. I don't want to say her name wrong. And we see a grown, mature couple, very well set, money wise, 130 billion net worth. So, properties and all. So we have them, and open marriage. Let's throw that back in there. So you have that. And they are divorcing. Like, so what is if a set of people like that can get to an end, like, what is it that, regular people, going to do that? What is there for us to do? It's always been like things that I think that this, for a lot of us regular people, this should actually put some things in perspective for us, I feel. because some of us as couples, you know, one or the other in the relationship, some of us go into marriage with the wrong idea, like totally screwed up expectations. You know what I'm saying? Our expectations just, I don't even know.
You read too many romance novels.
Watch too much reality TV.
Too much reality TV.
I don't know what to say, but
much.
It's been too much. And we started the show with speaking on Bill Gates and his wife, because look at them as a couple. You know, you would think that's a success story until they said we're getting a divorce.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't look at them and be like, man, they got problems. You know, that's not a couple that you look at and say they have problems. You know, they have a very successful company that they built together. Wasn't one carrying the other. They have amassed $130 billion net worth. They have more money than they could ever spend in this lifetime. If they spend that money in this lifetime, they were doing something
went terribly
wrong, or they gave it away, because why not? They have properties that they could go to their separate corners and neutral, you know, put some neutrality in between the two of them if need be. They have grown and successful children, you know, all these things. You in an open marriage where you got some freedom, you know.
All these things that society, the world has,
that we be looking like this is
successful.
This is success.
The American dream. This is what it should be. This is what a successful relationship looks like.
Like, we're not even going to go just with marriage, because everyone is married, but there are a lot of people in long-term relationships and everything. So, and maybe headed toward marriage or want to get married or whatever. So let's keep it there with just the relationship itself.
Right.
So it's like, when you look at them as a pinnacle of success, and then you find out, oh, they're getting a divorce, does that not make us regular people adjust our thought process on what a successful relationship should look like? Like, because I truly believe that as a society, we have flipped somewhere down the line. Something is wrong with our thought process and the things that we expect from our significant other, and just the things we expect out of a marriage or a, you know, long-term committed relationship, period. You know, we have some troubles and struggles that in this day and age, you know, I'm not even going to say people back in the day didn't have those problems. They just dealt with them different.
And part of that is too, like, we've had these conversations on Facebook with other people. Part of that is, not only do people see have a different sense of what a relationship should be, a marriage should be, but they've also seen how it used to be done. And they've seen men have
taking care of home.
The wife's in the house, she's the cook, the cleaner, the nurturer, all that, the caretaker. And then they've also seen the family where the husband has a whole nother family on the other side of town, and both wives are staying because they really don't have a choice. They're not working, they're at home, they're homemakers, they're housewives, and they don't really have an out. And now we've come into a society where women have an out, financially.
Yeah.
And they feel like, okay, I'm not putting up with certain things. And a lot of times men and women have this skewed view of what the other should be doing in a relationship.
Right.
Like these skewed definitions of what's man work and what's woman work and what a man should do and what a woman shouldn't do. Now some things I'm still old school in, and a lot of things I'm evolving. Like, things are different. Like, it's a different society. And the basis of a relationship is in a marriage, or however you want to see it, the general concept is the same. It's two people coming together, common purpose, a common goal, be it for love.
Should be for love.
Whatever. Like somebody was saying, I heard somebody talk about this same situation. I heard it on that podcast with the Bill Gates, and they have my same view on it. Like those are rich folks' problems. And when it comes to like people worried about the money being split and him having to give up money and that type of stuff, those are rich folks. Like I can't fathom.
I don't think those are rich.
I don't like this in this instance. You just use me and you. I don't just say our net worth was $100,000. Just throw a whole number out there, and I have to give you 50. My lifestyle changes. You know what I'm saying? Right. But in their situation, him giving her half of 130 billion, his lifestyle doesn't change. Right. And that's what the aspect he was saying. That those are rich folks' problems. That's true. When people who don't have that type of money get divorced or get broke up, their life changes.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this.
And he said that this same person also said that loves poor people.
Love is for
because that's our basis for getting married. Like that's where we start. He's like there are plenty of people who get married, and those who have a lot of money, they're married. Prime example, the book you're reading. Yeah. The Charlie Wade
status thing.
It's a status thing,
right?
And a lot of those rich people, that's where it was going. Like in that world, in that status, it's a status thing with a lot of them, and it's not always about love.
I don't think I agree with that. I agree with that because I know, but I'm saying I don't think I agree with that view of it because I believe most people marry with the goal of love. I don't believe that people marry even with money, with the goal of money, with business. And is this marriage gonna be a good business connection? You know what I'm saying? Am I marrying somebody who's not gonna break my stride? I think even more so the more money you have, that they strive for their marriage to be about love, to make sure it's not about the money. You know what I'm saying? And I think that on the flip side of things, people who don't have much money are marrying more so for the money, not for the love. I really think that's flipped around, because if I'm broke and me and you broke together, then that's love for sure. But most people who are broke ain't trying to attach themselves to somebody who can't upgrade them to a degree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That part too.
So I think that's a little flip. Now, definitely, I do agree that the status of it all, as far as if we had $100,000 as far as our net worth versus $100 billion as far as our net worth, and had to split that in half, that our lifestyles change. That's a most definite. Things change. But as far as the love of it, I think it's flipped around, because you got to think about where we are as a society. And like I said, as far as, we have reality TV, and then we have our young girls, unfortunately, are getting some bad information. Like the things that they see on TV is not real. You know what I'm saying? They say reality TV, but at the end of the day, it's still TV behind the name reality. You know what I'm saying? So there's still prop there and script there. So our young girls, for whatever reason, are starting to think this is the way life is supposed to be. And then you have a lot of men now starting to say, if you don't have this, that, or the other coming to the table, then don't expect me to have this, that, or the other coming to the table, because these younger girls really think, and I ain't gonna even say young girls, heck, some people my age, think that the men are supposed to come a certain kind of way, or whomever, they're dealing with is supposed to come correct, but they don't have half of what they expect to offer. They don't have that to offer, but they want to be taken care of. So I believe, as far as, the marrying for love portion, I think that's kind of flipped. I think the people who have the money really are trying to marry for love, and the people who are broke are trying to marry for money. That's the way I see it, just based on our society now. Most people who have money you know, even some millions, just millions of dollars. You have millions, I have millions. What difference it make?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be,
But
my lifestyle is gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yeah, and that's because we're on the same
Right. And that's why I say they would be marrying for love, you know?
But my take on that, well, I guess what he was trying to say was like, that's like if I have millions and I'm meeting women who don't. It's like, it's so hard to be like, is it really love or is it about the money? So it's almost like you have to have, it's almost like you have to, in some instances, hide how successful you are to gauge where they are, what their real cause is. So what they're looking for, what their cause is.
I think that we've gotten off marriage, folks. I think that marriage has somewhere down the line. I've always said this over the past probably decade or so, that people want to have a wedding and not get married. Like, we start to see these baby showers look like wedding receptions, you know,
right?
Grandeur. And these weddings are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 weddings. You know what I'm saying? And you go back home to an apartment, you know, things like that. I think that our society, you know, has somehow, I don't know, the blinders are on and people are coming together to have a wedding. They're not getting together to get married. Like, marriage is, we got married. When I got with you, I intended to be married, not just to have a wedding.
I didn't even want no wedding. But go ahead.
Right. But I mean, the point is we knew we were forming a union.
Right.
For the long haul. So I think people today have gotten their wires crossed because they want the day. Like, they put so much emphasis on the day. They'll spend a whole car. They go spend a Tesla's worth of money on a wedding and forget they got to go home and live with this person for the rest of your life, but won't put $10,000 on
$100 in the counseling.
And most of y'all insurance is paid for counseling. You just pay the copay. So I mean, it's I think that we have gotten into a zone where people's wires are truly crossed. Like, if you want to be married, truly want to be married, I would sit down and think in my head, like, what is my goal? I want to be married, but what really do I really want to be married? I remember your cousin. I said something about calling you to let you know I was going to buy something, some couple of $100 worth of something. And she said, you gonna call him and ask him that or tell him about that? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh no, see, that's why I can't get married right now. I want to be able to go spend money and do what I want to do, and you know, when I want to get ready. And it wasn't, she was like, it ain't like you don't have the money, you got the money, you making the money, why you got that? I'm like, that's marriage.
Yeah, because
he's like, yeah, that's why I ain't married. That's why I ain't getting married. And I'm like, keep that same energy, keep that spirit, because see, that's what a lot of people don't even have going into a marriage.
They don't realize that being married is not just about, being married is the
being in a long-term relationship where y'all come together. Because there are a lot of people not just getting married. I'm sorry. But like I said earlier, let's try to keep this to not just marriage, but these long-term committed relationships. They buying houses together, they putting their names on cars together and put joint bank accounts and all this stuff. So committed relationships.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. Go.
So even in these marriage committed relationships, whatever situationships, whatever you done got yourself into, the point of it all is two people working together for the betterment of them as a whole. So you can't do things with a mindset of just you.
Right.
Everything you do has to be the us, we mindset, because otherwise you're going to run into situations where you've created tension and turmoil over nothing. It can start off as a small pebble,
right,
and can end up being a boulder over time,
right.
because you haven't had these conversations. You haven't, like,
Or you think it's small, and the
like,
other
I
person
don't
doesn't view it as that small.
even even as, like, me as the man, like, I don't go and spend $100 on nothing without us. I don't think I've spent $100 on anything anyway. But it's just the point. It's the fact of the matter. Like, I'm gonna still be like, hey, babe, this is about to buy this.
Yes, he has.
We good. Have I've spent $100 and not told you what I spent $100 on.
Yes.
Like, for real, for real.
Yes.
I don't remember that.
I know. I'm listening. I'm hearing it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay. Go. Let's talk. We go on.
It happens,
You know.
at that point, y'all. I don't remember this, y'all. But anyway, but the whole point is conversations. Having conversations, having a us, not a we,
Right.
not me,
Right.
us, not I,
Right.
mindset in a relationship. And if you don't, it's gonna fail.
Absolutely.
It's gonna fail. Like, it's not. Let me not say it's not gonna fail, because people will live in dysfunction forever.
Yeah.
It was going to be difficult
You're gonna be
and miserable, is what it is. Because people will live in misery forever.
Somebody is gonna be resentful.
Yeah, and people, misery love company, and both of y'all be miserable, happily miserable together forever.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not happy.
Right.
You're just miserable. So that's something else that, yeah, that's something that you really have to work on. Your mindset has to be completely different.
You gotta be ready. I mean,
and you have to be mentally ready to be married.
To put your life,
or be in a committed relationship.
Right. To put your life with someone else, you have to have the mindset that it's not just me, and it's not gonna all be my way. And that's what I think people kind of mess up, especially today. Most time women, because we're spoiled and want to be pampered and taken care of and all this other stuff, and we just feel like we're supposed to be able to just bark orders, and you're supposed to make me happy, and that's a problem. That's a problem. Being married, being in a committed relationship, long term, anything, both parties have to be fulfilled. You can't think that only you are supposed to get everything you ask for.
Right.
First of all, nobody should get everything they ask for. That should not be. It's like a business deal. Like they say, the best business deal is where everybody leaves a little something on the table.
Leave something on the table. Everybody gets something out of the deal.
Right.
And that's another thing. Like, your happiness, like her happiness, I'm not in control of. My happiness, she's not in control of. We have to understand what makes ourselves happy, and to make ourselves whole in order to be able to work together.
Right.
Like I can aid in her happiness.
Absolutely.
But I'm not responsible for her happiness, if that makes sense.
Yes, you are.
The lies you preach. Like, so she's not responsible for me being happy.
No, I'm not.
See? But she's here to aid in my happiness.
I mean, you got to be a whole person,
right,
first, and that's the other thing.
That's another thing.
Some people,
fractured and bringing their brokenness into someone else's life, and expecting them to be fix me, like fix my broken pieces and make me whole.
Y'all, you know what's funny, and I don't mean to get too far away from Bill and them, but. And maybe this is a situation with Bill and them, and they just found a long-term way to work around it until it couldn't be done anymore. But we expect people to fix broken pieces that you allow somebody else to break. You let Jim break you, but you want John to fix you and build you back up. This is not a Humpty Dumpty type of lifestyle we live in here. You know what I'm saying? When you get into a long-term relationship, marriage, committed, whatever, John ain't supposed to fix what Jim broke. You're supposed to fix what Jim broke
before you go get
John. And so once you get to John, you can look back on what Jim broke and make sure you protect that thing from John to a degree. You don't want to take your baggage over into the next relationship, but at the same time, you definitely cannot expect the next person to fix what the last person broke. That is not their job. That is not their duty. That's not what they are there for. You're supposed to be a whole person before you walk off and go to the next relationship. So that means you're supposed to take some time and heal, learn from what went on, decide, okay, I did not like this or that or the other about that situation, and I'm not going to allow it to happen with the next relationship, and not repeat the cycle. Don't get in a cycle. And so that's where I think a lot of people mess up as well. When we look for the next relationship to be in or try to get into one of these long-term relationships, some of us just love. You know what I'm saying?
I literally had this conversation with someone maybe a week or two ago, and they're trying to learn. They're trying to learn to
Excuse me.
They're trying to learn to not. They have, I guess, what you would call abandonment issues,
right?
Because of the way they grew up. They parenting situation, that type of thing. So they are a relationship person. Like, I need to be
in a relationship.
Not even really a relationship, but I need to be connected to somebody to kind of make me feel whole. You know what I'm saying?
Even if it's a friendship.
Yeah, I need to be connected to somebody to make me feel whole. And when they're not doing the things that I think they should be doing, the way I think they should be doing it, then it puts that person into a space, a bad space,
right,
with their energy and with them themselves.
Right.
And so we had a conversation about learning that you need to work on that part of you, that get through those issues that you have. Otherwise, you're going to keep connecting yourself to people who don't really, aren't really what you need. They just fit what you want, which is a problem. Because this, like, I don't need, like, you shouldn't have to need somebody. Right. Like your that person doing something or being in your life a certain type of way shouldn't be what makes you happy or makes you be able to function. You know what I'm saying? It should be where I'm whole, you're whole, and it works. It works. Yeah. Whereas you're getting in relationships with people who they're broken, you're broken, they have an issue, you have an issue that feeds. Right. That, like, they'll have an issue where they have, like,
playing off of one another,
mommy issues or something. So you're being that nurturer, that support system, that everything they need that they miss with their mother, you're giving them that because you have that nurturing spirit and that desire to be connected to someone of the opposite sex.
Right.
So then they're using you for that, but they have an issue with, say, like, being open or talking or whatever. But you need somebody who talks to you who's open. So now you're missing that. So you're giving yourself to them and letting them have what they have, but now you're over here in another space in a struggle because they're not feeding that desire that you need. So that's why I tell people it's like a yin and a yang. Like, the best relationships are
give and take.
Give and take with strength. Right. Strength and weaknesses roll again. And until you find them, you first have to become self-aware. You have to become self-aware of your issue, problems, your shortcomings, or the things that you need to fix, and fix those things.
Right. there are things that some of us ignore about ourselves. Um, we don't want to hear about ourselves, you know. And I'm gonna tell you, if more than one person is telling you this about you, it is probably true.
Yeah.
It's probably true. You know, nobody we're human, and most humans don't want to be told they're wrong or not doing something right that they think they are doing right, and or that they think they're right about. So we tend to not be able to take, criticisms well. So somewhere down the line, before you get into your next long-term relationship, you
Do
may
some
want to sit down
self-evaluation.
with a notepad and think on the problems you have had in past relationships, not necessarily just relationship with your love interest, but maybe even friendships. Maybe you're somebody who find yourself with different friends every so many years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can look back and I'm still connected to people that I went to high school with, and them people still know me. Like, they still know me at the core. They know me, and that's because that's just who I am. I didn't make any changes um along the way because I just am who I am. I, for whatever reason, have always just been me, kind of really self-aware and things of that nature. So I just been blessed to not really change much. So I have friends who we still love on each other all the way back from high school, and they can still almost call out my reaction to something. If you were to tell them something was going on, they could almost give you my reaction to that thing. So if you are, like, I saw something the other day, side note, that said if you've had the same phone number for the past 4 years, you like really stable. So it's like, I've had the same phone number for, I don't know, I can't even remember how long I've had that same phone number, because it's just somewhere you have got to become a whole person. And it's not other people's responsibility to make you whole, and you can't get into relationships, friendship, whatever, and expect that other people have to treat you this way in order to make you happy. So, we get into these relationships and we want this person, that person, like, I want you. And I want you, but I want you to do this, and that. And that ain't even a part of that person's character. But because you want that person, now you want to make them that person, that, and change their character and make them fit what you want them, because you want that person. No, I want you.
And at that point, they're not themselves anymore.
Right.
They've lost themselves in trying to fit who you want them to be.
Right.
And
because you want that person.
And that's a bad narrative. That's a horrible narrative. That's a horrible way to live, because that person begins to resent you. And so maybe this might be a good segue moment to segue into the next topic about not since we're talking about people changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I do these self checks, but we try to do self checks with each other. We try to text each other or have a conversation during the day and be like, "Hey, how are you?
Good.
Are you good? Or, like, am I contributing to your happiness?" Like, those type of things. So today, I'm always on Twitter or somebody's podcast, like all the time. So Twitter, but it really is. But there was a conversation among some Black women, and they were talking about sexual liberation and the frustration they have as women in relationships, marriage, dating, or whatever, when it comes to sex and being comfortable with who they are sexually, their partner allowing them to be who they are and not judge them for their sexuality. Like, not judge them for being sexual, for not enjoying sex or not wanting sex, or a lot or whatever.
Okay.
And so today I texted her this morning like, hey, you good?
He did.
Like, are you comfortable? Like, do you feel sexually liberated? Do I allow you to be who you are sexually without judgment?
And I'm looking at the message like, where did it come from? You know, like what? Out of nowhere, out of the blue. Like what? But yeah, that's another thing, you know, as far as these relationships, some people leading with the genitals.
And the ladies were frustrated because they don't feel heard sexually.
Let me tell y'all a story. TMI before we get there, because this is a sexual conversation. This just flipped into a sexual conversation. So obviously we're going to get a little bit further into our business or some extra stuff, you know. But I once had a relationship with someone who I had already been with for some years' time. And I'm a dancer, y'all. I love it. If you ever meet me in person, if you know me already, then you know this about me. If we hang out at any point, then you already know. I'm a dancer. I don't have to drink. I don't have to smoke nothing. I don't need no sugar. I don't need nothing to hype me up. I just need the right song to come on. And I'm on the floor. Okay. So I dance for my mate. Do I not?
This is true.
I do. I tell people all the time, I ain't got no pole, but I got a swivel chair. I make it do what it do. All right. So that is just me. And I remember trying to do this for this person, and they told me to stop because that was hoish. And I was like, it was not him.
It was not me.
I said past relationship. I had a relationship. They told me to not do that because there was hoish, because I guess they were thinking or were in the mind of a stripper, I guess. And that was a problem. And me, like, what? You know? And I'm like, okay, you know, cool, whatever, you know. Didn't do it again. But personally, I was kind of like offended by that because it's like,
how do you feel about it?
What? I ain't never been no hoe in this relationship. I ain't never cheated on you and nothing like that. Like, where did it come from? So it's like, how do you get in your head that me dancing for you is hoe activity? Like, what? Anyway, so like that created, you know, some underlying issues in that relationship. Yeah. We broke up due to other things, and then we got back together later, some time later, and it was brought up, you know, to dance. And I'm like, nah. You know,
you ruined that for me.
That was ruined. And at that moment, when it was asked of me, naturally, I should have been able to do that. But because of the comment that had been made prior, it was like the magic of the dance was killed. It was dead, you know. So women, we deal with, you know, men think that they have some issues and like they got performance anxiety, and they don't realize that they project onto women. And if you a woman with another woman and they're the more dominant party, then y'all project onto women, you know, what it is that y'all think we should be sexually, when really we may be just totally something else. But because we are pleasers, most of us, we roll with the flow, and then we're just unfulfilled.
Sexual, like, for me, I'm a sexual conversationist. Like, I talk about sex because I want to know things. I want to understand. For people who've known me, who've been my friend for some years, they know. I've said this to you. I wanted to be a sex therapist when I was coming up,
right?
But I didn't know how to get into that lane to go into that field. So I'm veered off. I'm completely somewhere else. But that part of me, but that part of me is still there. So I still have conversation about sex because I want to understand people's thinking when it comes to sex, like from every aspect of it. I'll have a conversation about it, right, pretty much with anybody. I'm not, so that's not a big thing for me. So when I'm hearing this from women, are like, what? Like one lady was like, she's had trouble with relationships because men think her sex drive is too high. Like she wants to have sex
all the time,
too much. Okay. And she's like, it's really like, it's like 3-4 times a week too much. Like, she's like, and I'm not asking, she was like, I'm not asking him to do it twice a day, 4 times a day, and we're having sex for 2 hours every day.
This is her problem. I can see this already. I wasn't even a part of the conversation, but I can see it already. For men, y'all suck. I'm just gonna say that out loud.
Whoa.
3-4 times a week is not a lot per se, depending on what you got going on at home. If you're busy and children running around all over the place, you may not be able to get that done. But the desire to have it 3-4 times a week could still be there, but you just may not be able to get that done. But if you're able to get 3-4 times a week done, that's not a lot of sex. First of all, there's 7 days in a week. So let's clear that up. So that's about 50-60% of the week. So that's an if you grade anything, okay? So you ain't doing that great. But what I'm saying
we're giving grade.
I'm just speaking on percentages. So
we're giving a percentage grade on the number.
If you live with somebody, you're in a relationship.
The natural average. Go ahead.
If you live with somebody and you are around this person every day, you come home to this person every day, 3 or 4 times a week, ain't that hard to do. Because you go to bed at night, that's one time. You wake up the next morning, that's another time. You got at least 2 in a day that you can get, possibly. Like, this is just batting averages. This is just averages, okay? So you got 14 possible chances to get things done. So 3-4 of the 14 ain't asking too much. And if you home together all day on a Sunday, that's 3 chances a day that you got right there. If you want to include went to bed last night, woke up this morning and caught one in the middle, you got time.
I'm doing my math. I'm researching.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this: men most times want to have sex. Majority of men want to have sex 3-4 times a week. But where the problem comes in is that y'all can't handle when a woman expresses that they want to have sex 3-4 times a week. Y'all want to do, like you said before, men are natural hunters. You all are the aggressors in relationships. You all are, the more dominant being. So when someone comes, on strong, then that may throw y'all off, because most men 3-4 times a week, they would be very happy with that. The problem comes in when a woman is assertive about her 3-4 times a week, then you got a problem. It's like, wait a minute, you a freak. But if she didn't say it out loud or request it, it probably would, and you got it 3-4 times a week, it probably wouldn't even bat. And that's probably what that lady is dealing with.
That may be what that lady's going with. I mean, and I have to, when we be having these conversations, I'll be having to think like, thinking in my head, like, would I ever be like,
run away
from that conversation? Hell no. But look, like, this is really disheartening to me. Shit. For the masses. Like on average, couples, they did a study of like 20,000 couples, and they found that only 26% of the couples are hitting the once a week mark.
Out of 20,000 couples?
20,000 couples, only 26% of the couples are hitting the once a week mark, with the majority of the respondents reporting sex only once or twice a month or less. This is why we have so many problems in marriages. Gotta be. If there's not
is that
something,
a real study? Like, is that from somebody reputable? Can we count on that?
yeah, this is
You ain't gotta say the source.
Yeah, it's a reputable source.
It's reputable.
Yeah. There's another source here. No free shout outs, but this from Time Magazine. That on average, over the course, like within the last 10 years, the average American adult had sex 9 fewer times per year than Americans did from 2000 to 2004.
No, those aren't numbers though, so I don't know what that is.
So, but the average was the average adult enjoys sex 54 times a year.
So 9 fewer times than that, than 54. Okay, so
51 times a year is not even once a week.
54 times a year is not even. It's once a week, and
like a .001 or something. Yeah, but they no, the 54 times a year was single people. Couples, while married couples under this was the average adult that was having sex 54 times a year. A little more than over once a week. While married couples under the same roof will have sex about 51 times
a year.
That is not. Let me not say what is and what isn't a healthy sex life for someone else. That may be good for someone else, but that is not a healthy sex life if you are married, for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Like the pastor say. Pastor has said. Pastor say, if you don't want to have sex, you shouldn't have had none ought to got married.
You shouldn't have had none ought to got
married. Had none ought to not get married.
I mean,
oh my God.
I hope we don't sound like some freaks out here by this. I am shocked and a bit appalled at those numbers.
We're gonna have to have no comments. We didn't have no comments. Okay. Everybody's real quiet today.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I just saw something typed up right now. I just feel like
we're gonna have a separate, like we're gonna have to.
This is a separate discussion.
A separate, y'all. We're gonna have to get another couple on here, and this is gonna be next week. We're not gonna do Monday. We're probably gonna do Tuesday next week because next Monday is a holiday. Next Monday is Memorial Day.
That's perfect.
People gonna be out doing it, celebrating and whatnot. Okay. So, but we're gonna make this a separate. We're gonna make this a completely separate, on its own podcast about sexual health in relationships, because this is something that just listening to the frustration of these black women, because they were all black women. And that's what you hear the majority of, because black women have always been taught negativities about sexuality. Yeah. And so now we have a generation that's trying to make up for the generation that hid from sex. Now we have an over-sexualized generation where everything is about sex.
Hypersexual.
It's hypersexual.
I mean. So
we're going to, even if we can't get another couple
separately,
we're going to have a separate conversation about this.
Okay, so
on this subject.
Let's do this. When it comes to long-term relationships and marriage, sex is a very important part of your relationship.
It may not be the most important, but if you do a pie chart, it's going to be
A good chunk.
a good chunk of your pie chart.
All right.
Because sex is spiritual, it's bonding,
It's emotional.
it's connecting,
Yeah.
it's emotional,
Yeah.
and
It's healthy.
it's healthy, it's healing.
Mental and physical health. Okay, I ain't gonna say that.
We'll get it. Like, we're gonna save this. We're gonna table this conversation.
Table it.
Matter of fact, we're gonna end this podcast at this point because I don't want it to go off. What we're also going to do next week podcast may not be this, but
What?
you
Gonna
think?
table it that fall?
Okay.
I think we're gonna come see y'all tomorrow about Kwame. Who does this? Kwame, I'm gonna learn about Kwame tonight, and then we're gonna talk about Kwame tomorrow. Is that all right?
We can do that.
Or Saturday?
We can
Saturday evening, Sunday, whatever.
Saturday, whatever. We'll get back to you guys on the Kwame Brown situation.
Yeah, you can tell me about Kwame Brown. What's happening with Kwame Brown?
Okay. Kwame Brown was the 2001 number one draft pick.
Okay. Of
the Washington Wizards, NBA.
NBA, okay.
Kwame Brown had a 13-year career in the NBA.
Okay.
And he's been considered a bust his entire career.
Okay.
He never was an all-star, all-pro, led the team, any of his team, and
Nothing.
Okay. 17 years old, country boy from South Carolina. Come up, and you're the first round draft pick, number one pick of Michael Jordan. So you were Michael Jordan's first draft pick when he was the GM of the Washington Wizards. This was before he did with the Hornets.
Okay.
Before he became the owner of the Hornets. And he's always been labeled a bust. People have been dragging him in the media for 20 years. Last week, a week before last, Gilbert Arenas was on Matt Barnes and was on All the Smoke.
Right.
They made a joke about Kwame. Gilbert Arenas told a story about he told a story after. But basically, Gilbert was saying, and for me, it was like he was saying he felt sorry for Kwame, 17 years old, country boy, and he felt like Jordan ruined him. It's like he felt like if he could have been drafted by somebody else, would have been better for him, because it was almost like NBA bullying. Like he's 17 years old, and Jordan as the general manager is just destroying his confidence. Like, you're not any good, you just beating him down. Wasn't a nurturing environment for a 17-year-old coming into the NBA with grown men.
Gotcha. All right.
So that's where it started. So they make some sly comments. The joke was about a trade that he was involved in, that he got traded to the Lakers. And they made a joke about like he wasn't like that only one person got was only one player was a part of that trade, like dismissing him like he wasn't any good. So like he wasn't a factor in the trade. So Kwame, after 20 years, like literally, I've never heard this dude speak. And he caught wind of this, and he is giving everybody the smoke. Stephen A., Matt Barnes, Gilbert Arenas,
the Jamel
Stephen
Hill,
Jackson,
all these people that I've been
Jamel
seeing comments
Hill.
about. Okay, I'm gonna go research this. I'm gonna go look it up.
He's been giving you that Cheneyville country boy, I'm a grown ass man, stop playing with me smoke for the last week and a half. And me and Trail had a conversation. Y'all remember my partner Trail? He was on one of the episodes previously. We had a conversation about it, and the two of us were in two different places about the conversation. We were saying the same thing, but we were just saying it in from different directions. So we came around and we came to an agreement. He is talking about the media and how the media has put black men in place to down and bash other black men for the entertainment of white America. Mm-hmm. But before in the midst of him getting that message out, he was giving them the smoke in that good country, under the tree, Morganza dragging, chain of cigarette hanging out your mouth from the inside of his F-350.
Said it with his chest.
On his tractor. Like, for real, he was literally on his tractor and in his truck giving them this smoke.
Okay.
And he has multiple videos out right now. He called Matt Barnes Becky with the good hair. Stack. Steve Jackson, he called him a fake thug. He's been giving Stephen A the smoke. Jamel Hill got crossfire. He's like, see, this is why women shouldn't get in grown men conversation. Because this ain't had nothing to do with you. It was two grown men talking, and you put your input in. And all she said was, Kwame Brown chose violence. Like, making a reference from Game of Thrones. Kwame Brown, country boy back in South Carolina on his farm. He ain't watching no Game of Thrones. He ain't know what you was talking about. So you got that smoke. Because he's like, I didn't choose violence. I ain't talking about fighting nobody or none of that. So that's how she got caught up in it. So he has been giving people the smoke for the last week. Today, I listened to one, like, he gave Charlamagne the God the smoke. Because you're
gonna mess up all the stuff for tomorrow, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. But that's the gist of it.
He rattles off.
Yeah, because man,
I'm gonna go listen to all this stuff.
And we'll have a conversation about it. Because at first I was getting mad with him. Not for responding, because I understood. Like, you the quiet kid in the corner. Ain't bothering nobody. You out on your farm and your tractor living your life. You done made $60, $70 million in the NBA. You good.
Right.
You back home with the people. You back in South Carolina. Him and Charlamagne from the same
area.
Same neighborhood. Like, they grew up in the same city.
Oh, wow, cool.
So Charlamagne got on the radio show and he tried to say some stuff to kind of, we'll talk about it. Yeah. But y'all, we want to thank y'all for joining us. We got off the rails as usual. We should probably name this podcast Off the Rails. Because those be our off the rails segment.
Man, this stuff be passing for perfect.
Yeah. And it ain't real. And this is the Kwame Brown thing is a perfect example of passing for perfect.
Okay.
On TV for these people.
Okay.
And that ain't the real truth, and that ain't really what's going on. Okay. So we gonna have a talk about this, and I'm gonna try to get with Trey, see if Trey won't come on with us.
I'm trying to get him
to have this conversation.
I mean,
it'd be hard to get my boy to get on, but I might get him on for to have this conversation.
We may be able to do that. Let's get him in there.
So
it's being real. This conversation shall be the actual marriage and relationship. We will continue this because we're going to spin that off into healthy sex life within the relationship. And I can see that one going real deep. If you're sensitive in the ears about sex, don't join us.
But that'll be next. That'll be next week.
Next week.
We're gonna put that out there tomorrow. Next week, Tuesday. Tomorrow we're gonna have a special. We're gonna have a special podcast tomorrow. We're gonna get into this because I have some thoughts about what he said. I have a lot of respect for a lot of stuff he said. So I feel some way about this kind of stuff as a man, and I respect what he's saying as a man. And I feel like us as black men need to be grabbing on to what he's, even between all his jokes and all the ragging, he's giving some real gems. some real tidbits as men.
Okay.
So that's why I feel like, as men, regardless of how you feel as a basketball player, like listening to this has kind of made me kind of change my thought process on some stuff. But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Got it.
Thank y'all for joining us.
Tomorrow at 7,
We'll
Kwame
see
Brown.
you tomorrow.
And all his.
We're gonna be a little later than 7 tomorrow because I got to do my man work first. So maybe about 7:30ish or so. I'm gonna get my yard cutting y'all. But
Oh God.
we will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you again for joining us. This has been Passing for Perfect.
Go write your list.
And Cognition.
Go write your list.
Yeah, get you some mental therapy.
Write your list.
Get you some.
Where am I messing up? Why? What do I need from someone else that I shouldn't be needing from someone else?
Facts.
Can't nobody make you whole.
Nobody.
Gotta come whole.
Got to talk to God about it.
Right.
Choose God.